Hey, we're back with Professor Avram Ehrlich, Theology in the 21st Century. Quality and meaning of life in 21st century.
I suppose there are several ways that you can answer this, and I'll start with the poetic and refer back to the blessings of Jacob of Israel to his children, and some of them are devastatingly critical and complaints about personality, and some are praiseworthy and praiseful, and two are one referring to Joseph, and he refers to Joseph being a vine growing on a spring and being the desirable by many young women's eyes, and great fertility and blessing for all around. That was referring to Joseph, he symbolized surplus, and he symbolized development, and he symbolized the great empire of Egypt and the pyramids and the exercise that he envisaged of collecting of surplus, and then later on distribution. He actually created a monopoly in Egypt and empowered the pharaoh. And one could say that there was great imbalance under him, and later on in the pharaonic Egypt. And so, Joseph did symbolize and did envisage an ideal, another ideal, and it is interesting that he himself was carried to the land of Israel in a box which somewhat resembled the tabernacle. And the tabernacle was in some way a re-visualization of civilization, of very technological and enabled and empowered and industrious and creative civilization, nomadic. And in some way Joseph did embody that. And the other blessing that Jacob gave to his child was to Judah. And it talks about that the donkeys which are tied to the vines near the city of Judah, you can tie them, and then you can shower in wine, and you can wash your clothes in grape juice, and the eyes of the people are of wine, and their teeth are white. Such are the cities of Judah. So here you have two descriptions of cities and of societies in a biblical context. And the question is, how does one interpret these ideas in the 21st century? And that is no mean feat. It requires an amalgamation of knowledge bases of civilizations and sewing them together. So as an intellectual exercise, my thought was to look at the Asian social experiment, that over 30 years, the last several decades, they have taken the greatest ideas of Western civilization, the highest ambitions and achievements, and they have expanded it and scaled it up and advanced it as the lowest common denominator for everyone in their countries. So the Asian experiment is very interesting, because as they took Western ideas and scaled them up and industrialized them, we are now looking at them, and we are also looking at our mass scaling up of the group. The West has scaled the group up to be the corporation, to be this incredibly Hulk-size machine of humanity producing, and the questions now is this a lifestyle that we want? This intensity, this productivity, this overproductivity. And what do we do with this overproductivity? And how do we address it within the paradigms of ideals that we have from earlier eons, or earlier civilizations? And that process is what we're going to discuss in other sessions.